Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. We're doing a special edition. We generally do our show on Wednesday and Thursday, but because we're trying to get ready to try to start this season up, this will be the last podcast that we're doing for a while. Of course, you can always catch the show on DC Radio, 11 o'clock on Saturday mornings. Today, I want to talk about the fact that these guys, our GMs, are doing a great job. And as you know, we're still waiting to get the okay for these venues to open. Right now, we're still waiting for that. It's not that's something that we don't have any power over to start the league. So we were, as you know, we were supposed to start June 5th. That was the countdown. We was all excited. You've seen all the stuff we put up about the league, but as you know, this COVID stuff is real, and we have to wait until we have an opportunity. They tell us we have the okay to go ahead and do the season. And they're talking about after July. Problem with that is we play a 10-game schedule, 5 at home, 5 away. So that would take up most of all our season, regular season, with the exception we'll probably have 2 regular season games left, but we definitely will still do a playoff and the championship, and we'll definitely do an all-star game. So you still got an opportunity to catch some MFL football this summer. So we trying our hardest, as you know, to try to make sure that we go, but keeping everything, be very mindful of, we still want to protect these young men as far as our coaches and our GMs and the players themselves. And as you know, we just have to be very honest and forthright. We always make sure we have all the clarity as possible about the MFL and what we're doing. We definitely want to be careful. We do not want anybody to catch none. As you know, I hate to bring it up again. You know, we lost one of our GMs, if you didn't know, to COVID. Great guy, Mr. Sean Wilson, with the Saints up in Philadelphia. And then we had other GMs to catch this virus. So we want to be careful with this, and we want to take our time. The MFL is the laboratory of change, meaning we want to bring former players from the field to the front office. We want them to understand they had that opportunity with us, with the Minor Football League. Also, we want to develop these players as much as possible. But like I say, we can only do what the powers to be allow us to do. We're getting ready. We're still signing players. I know players been calling, and I tell them they can come to the franchise that's close to them, and we can get them a tryout and everything and sign with one of these franchises. And like I said, also I'm reaching out again to the HBCUs. You guys have an opportunity to play this summer. Don't just count yourselves out and say, you have to wait till next year. Next year will be too late as far as trying to play in the Minor Football League or anywhere else, as you know, because things are changing. Even the college is giving the seniors another year. So what did that mean for players that's coming in? Meaning you won't get an opportunity to play. Either you're going to be redshirted or you probably have to wait next year to go out for the team. So it kind of pushes everything back. And we want people to understand that the MFL, it's a laboratory change, and we want to give these young men an opportunity that you don't find outside of college or professional ball. And as I say, we have cut some of the franchises as far as where they're going to go. We know they're going to start even later. So what we're going to do, we're going to play inside the divisions. Hopefully we'll bring the close divisions to us up here. Also, you'll get an opportunity to see those teams in the other divisions and stuff. So we're excited about that. And, we have our guest, Mr. Theophus Brooks. I'm going to bring him on, a good friend of mine that been around for a long time and know DC sports. Matter of fact, he had a very successful team, the Washington, the Bulls, and they won a couple of championships. I'm not sure, I remember, but this is a guy that's been around sports for a long time in the community, have a great sports show, and a good friend of mine, and when I say that, don't y'all start laughing because I'm dating myself. Everybody can say, what you doing knowing somebody as young as you is? Because they think I'm about 18. But, hey, I'm going to bring Brooks on. How you doing, sir? Mr. Theophus Brooks.
How you doing?
All right.
What's up, man?
Let me just say this first of all, sir. Don't come on here with that beard and all that kind of stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? But when you do that, then my kid's going to ask me why, granddad, I'm trying to stay away from that.
Well, I wanted to come on the show and go to the store and get a razor, but they told me I didn't have a mask on, so I couldn't come in. I went and got a Lone Ranger mask, and they still wouldn't let me in, so I just wear the beard. That's all.
Yes. First of all, I'm going to do a wellness check, Mr. Brooks. How you doing? How you feeling, man? How things going? Because we know this COVID is real. How's everything with you and your family?
Everything's all right. I'm recovering from a back surgery and 2 neck surgeries. So wow. I'm recovering from that. And that's a long process. Let's make my 9th operation as far as football injuries. I had knee replacement, hip replacement, scopes on both knees, 2 neck operations, back operations. It's rough, man.
Well, you sound like you're the $6 million man for real.
But let me tell you something. People said, yeah, man, you $6 million man, you can play football again. I said, no, that's what got me in trouble the first time.
We're going to, like I say, we want to welcome Mr. Theophus Brooks. I mean, well known in the DMV area, played football, went to my alma mater, which is also in the Cardozo Hall of Fame at Cardozo. And I mean, he's just a heck of a ball player. And I'm fortunate enough that he did take me under his wing when I was young. Got to know a lot of people, and he introduced me to a lot of people. But we're going to get into MFL football because Brooks is like our insider in terms of what we doing. A lot of people don't understand the difference between semi-pro and minor professional football, which is a difference, and we're going to go in there. But I also want to add, Brooks, I want to ask him something that, really been on my mind. I have to tell you this because, last week we did something over there in Southeast. They had a community day over there, and they asked one of the players that played for me, the Chiefs. He asked me, "Will we come over to MFL? We'll come over there." And we came over along with one of the GMs came up from down in Atlanta for the Georgia Warriors. He came up, so they was kind of glad to see us. And we played basketball. He tricked me, Brooks. So he had these guys that told me, yeah, y'all should play basketball, but you know me, our ego always gets us in trouble. I went out there and started shooting. So I told the guy that got to all Myles, ain't nobody worried about you, Dr. Myles. Say, I heard you lost the steps. I went down the lane and laid it up, Brooks, and I told him, I said, yeah, I lost 1 step, not 2. Everybody busted. Yeah, I lost 1 step, not 2. I wasn't finger rolled that thing. So
you always got a gimmick. One thing about you got something for them.
No, I mean, but Brooks, so they beat us, and my ego wouldn't let me do that. So we played the game, we won, and then the last game it went into overtime and they beat us. But I was happy, but Brooks, I couldn't walk almost after. It's like my body said, I'm this, and your legs said, look, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And then you can mess what you want out there. But I just have to fill that in because the fact that the MFL, we are community orientated. As you know, we are always had our program, no thugs, no drugs, early youth offender program, conflict resolution. Yeah. And we also, Mr. Theophus Brooks, been a stellar person in the community because he worked with the Roman leaders for a long time, and he went places that a lot of guys couldn't go. You know, I'm going to have him just talk about that a little bit because we want people to know MFL Nation. The MFL is not just about football. We're about economic development. We're about community service, and all our players do 100 hours of community service. But before we get into football, I mean, just enlighten MFL, not that they don't know you or never heard of, but just bring MFL Nation up to speed who you are, Mr. Brooks.
Okay. Well, I worked in the school system for like 30 years, and I worked there with the Roman leaders for about 10. But the biggest thing, I had the Youth Gang Task Force, DC Public Schools. And I worked at Kelly Miller for about 20 years. Then I went to the Youth Gang Task Force. But what you were saying about that basketball thing, I remember we used to play, the teachers would play the students in basketball, right? And I was in my 40s, and I used to go out there and I used to kill them, right? And they said, why you playing so rough and playing so hard? And I was scoring. I said, because I told a friend of mine that was playing on the team, if these young boys beat you, you ain't gonna be able to walk around the halls. So we better go out and score and beat them, right? There's no joke. But my thing was biggest thing was dealing with different crews who were beefing, you know, Lincoln Heights, 58, Clay Terrace, Simple City, Eastgate, even Trinidad, Pippino, all over the city, Southwest, you know, Rittenhouse. And my job, I had a 6-man team. My job was to mediate disputes. For instance, if 2 crews were beefing and one guy got shot, well, the ones that wasn't involved in it, those are the ones you got to come to the table and resolve it because it's going to be retaliation. Now, you cannot get 2 groups together, first of all, if they don't know you. Second of all, you don't have any reputation in the neighborhood. Third of all, can they trust you? Mm-hmm. Are you the police? No. And we used to have mediations. The police wasn't involved, teachers, community, nobody was involved, and it was just them and us. And when you go in a meeting, you know, I'm a street guy. You know, I just never been to prison. I'm a street guy. When you go in a group setting, and 2 groups are beefing, and you ask them, say, man, what happened? He said, well, dude, keep faking and jangling. I caught him slipping and stole him off the top. I can't say, well, what does that mean? If you say that, they're going to get up and leave. You got to understand the language. I understand the music. They say, man, you 72 years old listening to rap music. Big Meech, hallelujah, One Nation Under God, real niggas getting money from the fucking God, you know. They say, you know that rap stuff? You got to be able to communicate with young people. And for years I did that, and I never had any threats or any problems. And the crime went down in the school system about 25% when I had the gang task force. And that was 6 people. And I picked people that really know the streets. You got to know. And we go in neighborhoods. Sometimes we split up. I go to neighborhood 12, 1 o'clock at night. A lot of people say, well, aren't you worried about somebody bothering you? Well, you're not going to walk in a neighborhood and you don't know anybody or they don't trust you. You know, they trust somebody. They don't trust the police. Sometimes they don't trust teachers, but they trust you because, you know, you're familiar with what's going on. They know you're honest, and they know you're going to try to keep them from going to jail or getting killed. Let me tell you something about young boys and girls too. They don't really want to kill each other. If you got somebody that can step in and stop them from killing each other, why they save face? You know, they can save face and they don't have to think, well, I don't want nobody to think I'm a sucker. You know, I'm going to do what I got to do. If I can go in there and resolve it, and everybody go away looking good, and it makes me feel good, And when they come into meetings, the reason why I don't have community people in there because adults start talking about when I was growing up. They don't want to hear all that. That's number one. Two, they come in there with their pants hanging down, the hat on. I don't tell them pull their pants up and do this and do that. I'm concerned about them getting ready to kill each other. I'm not concerned about their dress. That's for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And we had a long career. Never had a problem. Never had a threat. Broke up a lot of wars. Broke up some gang fights. 58th and Lincoln Heights was going at it. Got them out of jail. It's a long process. And I loved it because I knew everybody knew me and I had respect. Even the police, they would call me and say, Brooks, these guys getting ready to go to war. We're going to let you handle it first. And that really helped.
So you intervening mean a lot to them because I know when I took the Washington Chiefs, the MFL to Montgomery County, as you remember, Brooks, we went to, like everybody think Montgomery County is so great. Yes, it is, but Montgomery County got some parts in Montgomery County that you think it was in Southeast, like Lincoln Park and stuff. And we had our program, No Thugs, No Drugs, and we used to go in them communities. And I had to have it out with these guys. And as you say, if you're afraid, and these guys know you're afraid, they don't have no respect for you. Because I was out in Lincoln Park and some of the players, we was implementing our program in the rec center. And the guys was in there doing what they shouldn't have been doing. And I put all of them out. So one of the guys, he came up to me and said, let me talk to you, big man. So he stuck the gun in his pants, Brooks, and came up there to me. And he said, well, Dr. Myles, let me tell you. I said, first of all, I'm not from Maryland. I told him just straightforward. I said, I'm not from Maryland. He said, well, why is that? I said, first of all, if you think you are frightening me because you got your gun in your pants, I said, where I come from, you can get hurt for even doing that. Because if you ain't going to use it, don't be showing it. Well, I'm just saying, I said, first of all, take your weapon back where you picked it up from. You come back and talk to me like a man. And he said, well, okay. Then he came back and talked, well, we in there playing ball and stuff. I said, while we implement these programs, you can't come in. Tell your boys they can't come in. You know what I mean? And I got more respect from them guys, even though they didn't know me, because I let them know I'm not from Maryland. You know what I mean? And, we can take this any way you want. And the police out there in Montgomery County said, look, hey, I don't know how you handle it. I'm going to let you keep doing what you're doing. Of course, I had the support of Montgomery County Council and the county executive and stuff, but I told them we didn't want the police to go in Lincoln Park. I wanted to go into Lincoln Park because I'm telling you, Brooks, I thought it was Southeast. And and I'm going to tell you another part out there that everybody don't realize is rough. Now, everybody know Potomac, but they don't know about Tobytown out there. There's a part in Potomac called Tobytown where the blacks live out there and where the slaves used to live, the slave quarters. But that's an area that is only one way in and one way out. And when Montgomery County police used to go in there, they take a whole army in there because that's how rough it was in there. We could go in there and implement program. We had no problem because that respect factor, as you say, growing up in the city, we knew everybody. Everybody knew us and they know, I used to tell them, don't let these dudes fool you. But it just goes to show you that, with people like yourself coming up in the community, you got to get these young people respect because if they don't respect you, they're really not going to do anything you ask of them. And we used to do program in Montgomery County School that Montgomery County never had program implemented during school time. And we took out drugs in there.
Let me say one thing about that. What you said, a lot of people need to listen. He walked to you with the gun and situation. See, one thing about young people, they got a sense. You can walk in a room, they don't know you, and they can watch you for 2 or 3 minutes, and they can tell if you're about your work. And see, the thing about it is, when you walk to that guy and y'all talk, you direct. Mm-hmm. You just say, oh, man, you don't need no gun. Look, man, hey, look, let me tell you something. You come up in this joint, you ain't no guns and stuff. Who are you? Man, it don't make no difference. You can't come up in here with this joint now. I'm telling you. And see, when you start talking like that and you being direct, they respect it. And I don't care where it is around the DMV. If you come direct, you're going to get that respect. But they can spot weakness. They can spot weakness at the drop of a hat.
Absolutely. And, that's the one thing that we and you've been close over the years, and that's the one thing I respect about you and the things you do. I really don't think that you get. I mean, I know you won numerous awards. You're in the Hall of Fame Pig Club and all that. I'm talking about in terms of the street. I was in the part of town, and when they see me, the guy said, "How you doing, soldier?" So the guy asked him, say, "Why you call him that?" Because the guy said that is respect for somebody that y'all don't understand what that means. And the guy said, "But you said, what's up, soldier?" to Dr. Brown. He said, "Because that's respect. I'm telling you who that guy is, so you'll know." You know what I mean? Right. And I looked at him. I said, "Wow, this young guy, he understood what that means." But the other young guys didn't, Brooks, because when you say soldier, they know, hey man, this guy ain't to be messed with. This guy real, and he gonna say what he say he's gonna do.
Or uncle, just say, "What's up, uncle?" You know?
Yeah, or they say
they know you.
Yeah, because and then they respect, because we never had a problem with going to different parts of this city. You know, I used to say, Mr. Theophus Brooks is the mayor of the city. You know, and I have to bring this up. A lot of people don't realize this, and I might fool you about it. I just love the book. I did read the book, and I did get one. I didn't pay for it. I think I took it out your car one time. I was riding with you. The city behind the Capitol. You remember your book you wrote?
Shadows Behind the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah, right. I'm saying, yeah, that was a nice book. And I suggest people, if you need to, let people know about that book too, because it was two different cities then. And right now things are getting, but like I say, I tell people, stop talking about get back to normal. This is the norm. And we have to understand that we work together. And I learned a lot of things from you, Mr. Brooks. A lot of people don't realize, and it takes a real man to admit when you learn something from somebody else. And that problem with us, with our egos, is our main problem. That's going to be the downfall of all of us in terms of men of color. And I say that to say, also, I would never talk about another man of color. Don't care what wrong he said about me. I would never do that to another man of color. They can say what they want about me. I don't care. Jesus Christ was better than all of it. They talk about them. But, where we came up, Brooks, it was a different animal. And not talking about the old days or nothing, because you still doing these things. You still in the community. And you still making a difference. And that's why I always go to you. I always call you. The one thing about me, what don't I do, Brooks? I call you. And I want to just kind of switch before we get back to that, because I want a lot of people to know who you is. Hopefully we can get you on the show again, especially on the, you have been on the show before. You have came on the radio show, but you never came on the podcast, and we doing this. But I want to ask you this, Mr. Theophus. Let's switch this to football now and the HBCUs. And the fact that we did, well, I'm going to say, I'm not going to say I made a mistake. I met with all the HBCU presidents. I should have met with all the HBCU head coaches. And I realized I should have done that. But, you live and you learn. Why is it people of the HBCU, now we got the MFL here. Then they waiting on the NFL, and I tell guys all the time, it's not that you're not good enough to play in the NFL. It's not enough room. Now, we reached out to the HBCUs and all that. We didn't hear anything. Now we begin to get a lot of calls from players. But why? I mean, you've been there, you've done that, you played, you had to stand in the league and in that other league, the NFL. You had an opportunity to get some time there. But, why is it these young men rather try to go to a Power 5 conference and sit 4 or 5 years than to go to maybe a Division II or HBCU somewhere and play? Maybe you can help me with that and try to bring some clarity to that.
The reason why a lot of kids been brainwashed. You got coaches for years, high school coaches. You got to go D1, D1. D1, got to go here. D1. They drove that in their head. Kids talking about, hey, I'm trying to go to D1. I'm trying to go to D. They drilled that in their head because guess what? You got, and I hate to say it, you got schools have been conditioned to come and say, you got to go to D1. You want to go to the pros? Go to D1. Look how many people get drafted. Look how many people you got to go to D1. Got to do. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that. I don't know what to do. And the NFL has got to the point. You got a lot of people that general managers and all. They're like politicians. They really not. I'm not real football people. They might have played football, but they're not real football people. And they always got to go to the guy that went to Nebraska, 6'2", 235. And the first thing they say was, we got to grab him because the competition was a whole lot different. But they don't realize that guys don't get drafted. But look at all the guys from the small colleges that make it in the pros, and they keep doing it year after year and allow them in the Hall of Fame. But guess what? They still got that thing in their head. You got to go to Michigan. You got to go here. You got to go here. And now Deion Sanders is breaking some of that up. But it's a long travel because everything is political and everything is still, we don't run this country. People need to really understand that. We don't run this country. And the country says, go to the big colleges, don't go to Morgan. You get a degree from Morgan and getting a degree from Michigan State. Hey, if you got it, you can get a good job or a good education. But these people are so conditioned with that D1, got to go to the big school, got to go to the big school. You got presidents. You said it. You should have went to the coaches, the presidents. The presidents are politicians.
They don't care nothing about
everything is politics. So it's a long haul. I tell you that. And a lot of guys that went to small colleges are in the Hall of Fame, and people keep overlooking that.
But when you think about it, Mr. Brooks, I need to, MFL Nation to get a chance to act, talk about this. You take a kid and he went to a Power 5 conference. He go there for 4 years, maybe 5 years. He don't play. Senior year, maybe when the starter got hurt, so you have to go in the game. Now, remember he can be hidden because he know the system and the team is so good they can hide him. You might get lucky that they get an interception, a couple of fumbles. First thing the NFL do say, wow, we're going to draft him. The only problem is, Mr. Brooks, now they give him a look, bring him into camp. Now the kid been exposed because now he really didn't play a couple of games during the season. So now you in the camp where you exposed. Now they cut him and he feel like, everybody going down him. But remember, you've been there for 4 years. You really didn't play. You might got the rings they won the championship with, but you did not play. Therefore, you had been exposed. That minor football league, we are a developmental league. You have been out there to win our trials and stuff, and you be teaching guys. These guys come out of these schools, man. If you wasn't playing, then you're going to get exposed. Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. And then when they have these so-called little combines, they tell the guys, oh, yeah, you're going to be all right. We're going to call you. You just need to, you need to be develop more. Well, how you going to develop sitting on the couch, Mr. Brooks? How you going to do that?
You're right. You're right. And one thing I like to say, I'm so, when I hear these words, they make me so sick. I had the Bulls as a minor league team. I don't understand it, people. I don't know what a semi-pro team is. It's minor league football. Semi-pro. That's like some guys get together, get the uniform and a marriage steak bag and go to the field and say, we're going to start a team. And a team from Northwest, we semi-pro. What is a semi-pro? I don't know what it is. I know what minor league is. I had a minor league team. And that stigma, semi-pro, makes me so sick.
But they love it. And for some reason or another, they think that it makes them they're supposed to be next to pros. But I'll tell you something else, Mr. Brooks. Well, I'm glad that great conversation we have in here. This is Inside the MFL, and I'm your host, Dr. Richard Myles. I got Mr. Theophus Brooks with us, as champion in his own right with his team and the teams he played on. But let me say this to you. When you think about it, you got all these guys. Now, remember, we know the history of the NFL because we can go back. A lot of people, we're going to date ourselves right now, that when Lamar Hunt had the Kansas City Chiefs and he tried to get in the NFL, a lot of people didn't know the NFL wouldn't let him in. So when he got together with some more millionaires and they started the AFL, right?
Yes.
Just to give people history, because a lot of people, it took the NFL 100 years to get where they're at, but people think it happened overnight. So,
Right.
Of course, the NFL told them, you won't be able to get no players to start your league because we got a moratorium, right, on players. But what they did not know is somebody pulled their tails to the HBCUs. Now, we talk about Dick Buckers. Dick Buckers was a heck of a linebacker, but he ain't had nothing on Willie Lanier. See, these are players that people don't even know about. They're Hall of Famers and stuff. Then when you think about the Green Bay Packers were just the who's who of the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Nobody could beat them until they met Otis Taylor and all them with the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat Green Bay. So the NFL was smart enough to say, look, let's merge these leagues, which a lot of people don't know is still an AFC conference, the AFC conference, NFC and the AFC. But what the NFL did, when you win that ring, what it had NFL Super Bowl champions on it. It don't have AFL. So merging the leagues was a smart thing they did because they knew that the AFC was going to end up being bigger because they started signing people like Joe Namath and all that. So you think about people. Now, there was a question asked to me, I'll put to you. Why the players that play in the NFL from the HBCU don't send their kids there? Why should they? It was hard enough for them to get in. Timing is everything. Had not been for the Kansas City Chiefs and they started that league, a lot of players from the HBCU wouldn't have had a shot at all. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. A lot of them guys would like Otis Taylor and Warren McVay and that crew, and they would have never been in the NFL. If they did, they would probably been drafted and probably be on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this, and I tell the truth about myself. I was a real young person. I was conditioned just like everybody else. I wanted the NFL to win the Super Bowl over Kansas City and over the Jets because I'm conditioned the NFL. I'm conditioned like that. And one thing about it is, I don't mind saying that, but as you get grow older, you learn. Some people grow older, don't learn. And today, we know the history of the NFL, and we didn't have social media. You got history, you got social media, and the average guy under 50 years old don't know anything about history of the NFL. They don't know anything about players that played back in the day. And it's a shame because they don't read. We don't read our history. All we do is sit around and listen to our friends.
Mm-hmm. We listen to our friends. And they always say, well, the players that played in the NFL from the HBCU, why don't they send their kids there? Because they know their kids only shot. They have to go to a BWI, or else they're not going to get an opportunity. So before they say, why they send their kids there? Because they know why. But as you say, Deion trying to make a difference because, as you know, what's his name got signed up there from Ohio State. He's getting ready to sign to be the head coach up at the running back out of Ohio State. Played with Tennessee Titans. I'll tell you his name in a minute. I must be getting.
You talking about the running back?
Yeah,
Eddie
George. Yeah, but see, you think about what the MFL trying to do is we're trying to provide an opportunity that you don't find outside of college professional football. And what I mean by that, we want to take former players and bring them from the field to the front office. You and I know Coach Eddie Robinson should have been coaching in the NFL. But why didn't he get the opportunity? For one thing, they talk about Bear Bryant, how many kids, but Eddie Robinson won more games. But see, then let me ask you this question. Tampa Bay Kansas City did a great job. But why Eric Denham ain't got no coaching job? You got somebody in the NFL, several of them never coached boys club, high school, nothing, but they coaching NFL teams. But you can't get mad. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to hate on that. But you can't tell people what to do with their league. But all I'm saying is we're giving people an opportunity to coach here, to be general managers here. because they'll wait, just like baseball. You know, Satchel Paige and them, when they gave them people a shot, them men was old. They was old. You and I know Jackie Robinson endured some stuff, man, that no human should have went through, should have endured.
Yeah.
But this goes to show you, like you say, young people don't understand the history of this game. And by no means we beating the NFL up. We're not going to do that. But we're talking about the opportunity here that you got all the, even what's his name, doing a great job at Tampa Bay, offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Hometown guy, went to Woodson and everything, left with you. I always told him, congratulations. But do you see these guys getting the opportunity that they should? Because you got a lot of people, even your boy up there with Tampa Bay, defensive coordinator. Now, he had a job up there with the Jets, but.
Well, see, a lot of times these guys get the head coaching job like he went to the Jets. You know, you can be hired by an NFL team and you can be hired by a situation. People don't realize the general manager and the organization pick the players. And you could be hired, you can come in, but the situation not right. You just take a man and throw him in a bad situation and you want him to turn it around, but he can't turn it around because they got too many people in the back calling the shots. You know, let me say this real quick before I forget it. I wanted to always say this. When I talk to people 50, 55 years old, and they make lists of NFL, blackball by NFL greats, right? And I notice they don't have Bob Hayes or Lynn Barney or people like that. First of all, they don't know about it. And this is the thing that I get. You cannot take a black guy from the 60s, great football player, and put him in the 2000s. You say, it wouldn't work. Yes, it would, because if you're going to put a man from the 60s in 2000, you got to give him the same work schedule, opportunity, training, lifting weights as everybody else. You can't take a man and stick him in another era and just leave him there. If you took Lem Barney or Bob Hayes,
his system is different. The rules are different. The rules are different.
That's right. The training all year round, the weightlifting, everything.
The money. Don't forget the money.
Yeah.
And nowadays, they draft guys and pay them money for what they think they're going to do.
That's right. Nobody knows.
Guys proven that been in there, but what they think they might do.
That's right.
And that's what, but like I say, we're not beating the NFL up by no means. Surely I'm not. But I just want to say to people of color to understand that how you think the NFL got where it got today? I remember the Super Bowl was $5 between Green Bay and Kansas City. See, a lot of people ain't know that. The first contract they got for TV was NBC, and they're not around no more, but for $64,000.
That's right.
Well, see, so they look at the NFL, the NFL, this, that, right? They built it that way. But look at if you know the NFL or if you understand the history of the NFL. Look how many teams folded that they had to combine and folded. And
that's right.
See, a lot of people, the NFL had as much as 87 teams at one time. They fold, they come back, they fold. Yeah. So it takes time. And I tell people, the NFL been around for 28 years. The NFL been around 100 years. And they celebrate and stuff. But give us some time. You made the NFL what it is. I tell people, you did. You got all these great players like Walter Payton and players like that. You can get all the accolades you want, but you can't own nothing there.
You're right. And then what you're trying to do is special, but you got to always remember there's some people on the other side always want to find a way. Wow. Oh, no, because guess what? Racism stuff is still going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I tell people, I said, I was saying, Mr. Brooks, and I said to myself, I'm not going to ever pull a man of color down ever again. I don't care what he said about me, because we are our own worst enemy. We still think it has to be, if it ain't white, it ain't right. You know that. Yeah. We'll look at each other. Oh, he's doing this. I'm not going to come and give him my money, come and see them play. But you have no problem giving the other people your money. You know what I mean?
Guess what? We talk about prejudice and white people. We got a lot of blacks that are prejudiced toward our own people. I mean, and it ain't no few either. It ain't no few either, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot that don't want to see you succeed, or anybody, that's trying to make a difference.
And I tell people all the time, and I'm very transparent. I remember when I said, I talked with you and I told people I'm going to start a minor league team. I'm going to start the Washington Chiefs. And I tried to order a uniform. It would take so long. And I had people out there coaching, good friends of ours. And I said, well, look, if we're going to go now, I remember I went to Coach Richardson of Cardozo because UDC had folded. But I went to them, they said, dang, we'd have known about it. We'd have gave you a uniform. We gave them out. I went to Cardozo to get the uniform from Coach Richard. I went to Easton to get the white one from Easton. I went to Coach Stu over at Anacostia. He said, no problem. Come over and get the uniform. We got the uniforms and we played. And as you know, we were no match for these teams, man, because most of the kids we had was out of high school, didn't have an opportunity to go to college, but they had heart. And then when we played the Major Harris and all them up in West Virginia, remember I'll never forget, the Washington Post covered the game and they said we was hit by lightning because the West Virginia Lightning, Barry Word and Major Harris beat us 68-28. But what I was excited about, the fact that these guys stood tall. But I know in order to be as successful as we wanted the franchise to be, I know we had to go recruit players all around the country from these Division I schools. And the great thing about that, the players came. They came from all over the country. They came, and the team was great. You know that. You seen them teams, bro. They was unreal. But my thinking was putting franchises, stop these kids from coming these distance, put franchises in areas that you can bring economic development and give these guys an opportunity. Because as you know, you got all Americans walking the street every year. Street. Because they didn't get that opportunity. And it's not that they wasn't good enough. And I tell people, thousands of colleges in the country. It's impossible for the NFL to see all the talent. It's impossible.
Let me say this. When I took over the Metro Bulls, the semi-pro thing, what I did was, this is, you talking about small black colleges. When I took over the team, I cut 27 ball players by phone, told them don't come back. I said, in order for us to be successful, to go on the road and to beat Chambersburg and teams like that, we got to have that talent, right? So what I did was I went out and handpicked people, and I had a 45-man roster. I had 29 of them played black colleges and were all American or all conference. They were all something, right? Mm-hmm. And you put them together. And then I had about 15 that's been in the NFL, 3 or 4 that played in the NFL. And you get that crew together with a good coaching staff. We go all around the country and we beating everybody. And you know what? That's because I went and did my homework. And I don't have a problem with the guy coming out of high school, wants some work. But give me the guy that played college ball, black colleges, give me those guys, right? Because I'm trying to step out and win outside of DC. And there's so many of them. Mark McCutcheon played in Green Bay, Willie Wood's son. I had a lot of guys that played. Chesley played with the Redskins. I mean, he went to UDC. So, I mean, what you doing, you trying to get the best in the business. So when they want to take a step, it goes to the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of people that I don't care what you do. It's it's all a bunch of junk, and I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear all that nonsense.
Yeah,
let's put the work in.
Absolutely,
right? Get the best athlete.
There you go. And when the Chief team was good, we had guys come from Colorado. The white kids would come from Colorado. Them guys, when we had Tim Johnson, All-American for Wake Forest, these guys came from all over the country, man, California, all over the place. But the only problem you had then, you had to get these guys housing. You had to get them jobs. And see, that's the problem we ran in, but it wasn't too bad then because we just had the Chiefs. We could take them all around the country and people would pay us because everybody wanted to see the Chiefs. And then, as you know, when our president Bobby Wilson came aboard from the Redskins, and then we had Clarence Vaughn and all them, coaching, and Cal Muhammad and all the, when they could run by everybody, catching passes and stuff. But the fact that these guys seen guys that played Division I ball, seen guys that played in the NFL, so it took on a whole different attitude or a whole different culture and stuff. And that's what what the MFL is about. It's like we're not turning our backs or make people feel like they're insignificant. We just want to no different than anybody else. We want to develop players, but in the bottom line, you want to win. That's what it's about. It's about winning and about developing these young guys and getting these guys shots, which we had. But it just, when you look at, when you're trying to do something and you think outside the box, and I know you went through this as well with your franchise when you did that, when you got them and you were a successful franchise, I must add. Why is it I'm just asking you, why is it so hard for us to support us? We support everybody else that don't want our support, but we support them. But we will not support each other.
Well, hey, that goes back even before slavery. Right. That goes back before slavery. I mean, let me tell you, if you think, when I hear people say, the black man needs to stick to black people, we need to do this, that, people don't realize how many people of color that are against people of color. It's a thing where you got some people of color don't want to see another person do well. He's been conditioned to believe that, they this and they that. And it's a thing where they've been conditioned, and I don't want to get political, but I hear people say, man, they're going to be a race ride. I don't want to be talking about that. But they can get a race ride. And black against the white. You know how many blacks will be with the whites? It would be so many of them because they've been conditioned. They condition us. They condition us from time that slavery on. And it's a shame if a man comes along, you trying to do something, I'm trying to do something, and they got negativity. Like when I had the Bulls, first of all, they shouldn't let him coach. He crazy. Second of all, it's going to be unorganized. Third of all, they didn't know anything about my up here. They didn't give me credit. They shot me down. And I'm running around bragging about I'm going to win a national championship. And people laugh at me. See, there you go, talking stupid again. And guess what? I was the number one team in the country in 1993. But that's the way it is. And you can always have that. Just like you. You say you don't pay any attention to it. Hey, if you want to be successful, you better don't pay any attention to it. Don't pay any attention to it because they're going to come at you. And you know it. A smart man will say, okay. I've heard that before. How many times you heard that? Oh, Myles not going to make it. Oh, Myles not. I mean, you heard that so many times. It's like a joke.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention to it, you wouldn't have this show right now.
Right. Well, and it's sad, but I make sure I get this in. You're watching Inside the MFL with Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr. and Mr. Theophus Brooks. Why the HB? But I'm gonna do something different this year. I'm next year. I'm gonna get going now. I'm gonna go to the HBCUs and do MFL combines at the HBCUs. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and because they was waiting for the other league to come there and nothing happened. And they would act like they was really shocked. Why, why we tend to not get something that's right in front of us and we want to just wait on something else. I'm going to sit on. I had a couple of coaches told me, say, well, I got some players just came back from college, Dr. Myles, but they said they're going to wait for the XFL. What? Wait for the XFL? Do they realize, and I was just explaining, I was just talking, I say, most of the colleges give these guys another year. So that means there's no movement with their scholarships and stuff, right? Yeah. Now, you're going to sit on the couch a year. Now you got these other kids coming out. Now that makes you a year older and you're in worse shape than you was in before. Mm. So I don't get it. Maybe you can, what is the reasoning behind this?
Hey, it goes back to what I say: crabs in a barrel, and when you're trying to do something, they're gonna come along and say, "Oh no, See, one thing about you try to do things outside the box. And I know that's a cliche, people use it, but it's true. When you do things outside the box, you have problems. You're supposed to stay within the box.
Yeah, going against
that. Soon as you're trying to get outside the box and do something different, oh, there you go. Yeah, he trying to do this. He trying to do that. Why couldn't he just do this? Why couldn't he do this? You go to colleges and have combines because you want, the guys to get an opportunity with you, and then that might step them up to the NFL. But then you have some people say, nah, he shouldn't do that. He should have it on a playground somewhere, with a bunch of guys getting off the subway. See, that's the thing. As soon as you step up and say, no, I want to step up and do it this way, there you go. There goes the neighborhood. He done took the rag off the bush. There you go. And when I hear people talk and say negative stuff, Brooks, why you got to have a special combine with special ball players? I said, well, there you go. Jesus Christ and General Jackson. Here we come again. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. If we have so many people, our people holding us back. This city should be behind you 100%, the mayor. But a lot of people that run cities, they are politicians. They don't know about athletics. And when you try to explain something to them, you talk about A's and B's, and they talk about C's and D's. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's rough. It's rough. And when you try to have meetings with certain politicians or something, and you hear them like this, oh yeah, that sounds good. I went to a meeting one time. I went to a meeting one time when I had the gang task force. I was meeting with the superintendent, and they asked me some ways of stopping the violence because I was doing a good job. And they were sitting around, yes, I love what you said. I love what you said. And then in the meeting, they said, man, I love all this. You know what I said? I don't see nobody writing anything down. And I walked away because I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So, the only thing I say, you keep doing what you're doing. And it's what kills me. Myles, when you blow the world up, you got everybody going to be at your door. Yeah, I knew Myles was going to do it. Myles, my man, come here, Myles. Let me pat you on the back. Yeah, Myles, I knew you were going to do it. See, you're going to have those type of people.
Yeah, and we don't like those kind of
people.
Yeah. But in all fairness, the mayor has been very supportive of the MFL. Matter of fact, we do our show right there. You've been at the pressure coming to our show, DC Radio, all the cable and television stuff, but not the support that we should have with the chief, the marketing team. They won a lot of championships and stuff. And I know, championships are championships, whether we won them a while ago or not. Other places, that's why when Montgomery County tried to pull the Chiefs out there, you remember? And you saw the Knights out there. They would try to pull us out there one day. And they nice facilities and stuff. And like I said, we both alumni from Cardozo High School. I want the people up there is real nice, especially the athletic director. And, we're going to do the Hall of Fame dinner there. I'd rather give the money to the school for scholarships, academic scholarships, and help these athletes get in college, be it football, swimming, basketball, track, baseball, it doesn't matter. But these are some of the things we should not have to worry about a field with Cardozo there. I mean, you made all, I made all, I mean, we're well known in the city, and it shouldn't be a problem with us using that facility. And I'm right on top of it now, and we get ready to have a meeting with the principal, but the chief should not have to look for a field ever. You know what I mean? And all that we doing with the school and going to do with the school, it's just that, I don't know, it's some people, like you say, when you do things out of the norm, it kind of rub people the wrong way. But then again, me and you the type, we like to rub people the wrong way. We want to do things different. We don't want to do stuff like everybody else do. things. Things never get done right. I had a couple of times. Our head coach Bob Hedden was coached us in high school. Coach you, and he showed. I had the pleasure of being honored playing for him 1 year before he went to Woodson, and he was on the show, and he'd always say, "Just keep doing what you're doing, knucklehead. Don't worry about what people say."
Right. One thing he gonna call you, if Bob Ed call you a knucklehead, that means something good.
Oh yeah. He'd say now, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing, and don't worry about other people, because you know what? Everybody is not going to be happy in what we're doing, Brooks. Don't care how good it is. Don't care how successful it is. And if you notice me, Brooks, I really don't mess with a whole lot of people. I stick close to people like yourself. You notice that about me. Yeah. I tell people, I'm giving you an opportunity to coach in the MFL, and we're paying coaches. We're paying GMs. It ain't like we ask to do anything free, and you're getting the opportunity to see what it is to run a front office. And that's why I say with former players, we try to get them to look at this thing. And if you want to, you can own one of these franchises. Because we're talking about economic development, man, generational wealth. That's what we're talking about here when you talk about the MFL. It's not that we're just talking about, and then we're talking about for players beyond the field. We talk to players beyond the field. That's what's important with what we're doing. And we want people to understand that, we here. We're not going nowhere. The XFL came and they thought we was going somewhere. We're still here. They come back 20 years later, we still here. Yeah. We're talking about the Alliance Football League. They tell me about they're going to pay the players $200,000 and pay the coaches $10 million. I said, that's not going to work. No. Get why, Dr. Miles, why? But when you look at it, look what happened.
It has nothing to do with you being jealous. It's just not going to work because the way things are set up, it'll work for a minute because the structure, it'll work for a minute, but it ain't going to stay there. It's no question. And it has nothing to do with, sometimes you got to look at stuff and look at it and look at the real picture. Would that work? You're not shooting anything down, but I mean, when you start paying, you got some of the league, they're going to pay coaches $10 million, this and that. How long is that going to last?
But it didn't.
How long is that going to last? And then it folds like a $2 suit, and then it starts up again and this and that. But what you're trying to do is keep it on an even scale,
Keep it level.
Make some money, do some things, and build. That's why you've been around so long. And I'm glad you said it, because when you look at it, everybody wants to be like the NFL. You're not the NFL. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stop trying to emulate them. You know what I mean? Be who you are. And we got it there bold as day. We do not pay players. Okay. Yeah. We have insurance. We take care of all these other things. And and I know people still got this thing where they don't want to see this successful, but we still here. Yeah, well, you got some people don't want to see nothing work. If you was taking out the trash, they would have something to say about that. Why ain't take it out that way? Why ain't put it on the right? You should put it on the left. So I don't care, because and I don't like to beat myself, but man, when I took over that team, everybody in the city knows me. But they know me from the gang situation. They know me for being they say dirty or ruthless ball player, out of control and stuff like that. But they don't realize when I was a ball player, I did my job, whatever the coaches told me to do. I did what I was supposed to do. I went to clinics, I studied the game, and when I got a team together, the first thing they thought was going to be out of control. And in reality, I was the least penalized team in the league. And they couldn't understand it. And then I was the offensive coordinator. Well, you played defense all your life because they don't really understand you. They don't look at you as a person. They keep looking at you as what they see, from afar. They don't come in your realm and say, look, man, I didn't know you know offense like that. I didn't know. I've been to clinics. I've been to different places, man. I studied the game. But when I talk football, when they talk nonsense, I talk nonsense. You want to be serious? I talk serious. And everybody said the same thing Man, it ain't gonna make it. They just crazy. Even the owner told me, "You try to. We just want to beat the Stonewall. You talking about winning the whole thing all over the country. Well, what you supposed to do?"
They were small-minded.
You know. And then when I came around and started winning, yeah, man, I knew Brooks had it. But yeah, Brooks was all right. They pat you on the shoulder. I was like, yeah, okay.
But the great thing about it, and what I told people, and Brooks is perfect for it. No one else would make that thing work the way you make it work. So it couldn't have been nobody else that had the success that you had with it, because the respect that people had for you, and you was no nonsense. You know what I mean? And that's what, people fail to realize. And I tell people all the time, people's opinion of you don't have to be your reality. It's just simple as that. And, so me and you, especially me and you, because, they think me and you is really out of this world, because, we dare to be different. And that's how we are. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Excuse me. People think we crazy. People think we crazy. You know what? They love us, but they think we crazy. They think something wrong with them.
You're dealing with this stuff. Sometimes you be thinking you have to be crazy. But, Brooks, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We'd like to get you on again, because it's a lot of things that I want to discuss with you, in terms of what we're doing with the Minor Football League and what we're doing in the community, because, we want people to know we're about community as well. It's not just about football with us. And I just want people to know you can, if you want to get in contact with us, our website is mflishere.com. You can go to our social media page, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find the information, all the information you want about the league and what we're trying to do. But I want to thank you again, Mr. Theophus Brooks, for coming on. And Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, Inside the MFL, our show come on in radio. And I just want to say to everybody, this has been another edition of Inside the MFL. And I'm your host, Dr. Richard Myles Sr. We'll see you Saturday. Thank you.
Let me say this, and I always say this when I leave. I appreciate you having me on. You one of my best friends. And as the hangman say, who lurks in the hearts of men forevermore? The hangman. Kill the head, the body, or die. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Thank you.